Welcome back, everybody. It's our second show of the second season of The Love of Acting. And of course, we have to bring on somebody from Canada. Yesterday, we had an LA actor, Rich Ting. So today, we are making sure that we balance things out with an actor from Vancouver. Please welcome to the program, Tyler Cotton.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. I love Canadian actors. I have at least 30 to 40% of all of my interviews, which now your interview 136. So you're in 7 months less, seven and a half months. So and at least again 30 to 45% of the people that I interview are either from Toronto or from Vancouver. And
Uh,
we've been doing more and more Vancouver kind of as we started rolling along. So very happy to have you on.
Perfect, happy to be here.
Yeah, and the way I wanted to start this out because I've seen kind of you talk about your love of acting, and that's what this show is about. So
Oh,
where does your love of acting come from?
well, I mean, my love of acting all started with my dad. My dad had a show in Calgary, where I'm from, called The Pet Guys, and I used to go on the show every once in a while. I was really young, and I would do like commercials for it and some radio work for it. So it all kind of started there. And then my dad got into doing some acting in Calgary. So then I was like, like I want to do that. So then I joined him. We did a few background gigs in Calgary, and then I took a break just to go through school. And then after school, I took a year off, and I did background work again. I did background work on Hell on Wheels by myself, and I got to chat with some of the actors on there, and I was like, yeah, you know what, this is it. This is what I want to do. And then I packed my bags and moved to Vancouver, and I was like, this is it. The rest is history.
Yeah. So how did again, your dad introduced you to the industry, which is great. Host to host things, Dad. Uh,
Yeah.
how did your parents react to you deciding that this is really what you want to do now?
I think they were a little scared. They were very supportive though, which I'm really grateful for. Before acting, I was considering going into nuclear physics, which isn't in the same field at all. It's quite different. So I think when I remember the moment I was driving home from set after doing background work on Hell on Wheels, and I was like, yeah, you know what, this is what I want to do. And I remember them, they're like, okay, but is nuclear physics out of the question? And I was like, yeah, it is. So this is what I want to do.
Well, in a way, those are related, and I'm going to try to splice them. Yeah, there's the first pun. I know you like puns, so I'm definitely
I do. I really like puns.
Um, I think in a way that there is some relation to these because as a nuclear physicist, you may be working for years without anything happening, which is
Oh,
very similar to acting. You may have a big explosion, which is again similar to acting. And
exactly.
then there was one more that I came up with that I'll come back to later, but there's some parallels that you can go to. But yeah, I have a 16-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old son. So now my daughter is she's a musical theater kid, so she wanted to go to school for theater, and I said no. Maybe a minor, but no. Being an actor myself and talking to so many actors on the show, knowing what the industry is about. I did not, well, me as a parent, I guess, and in the States, it's a little bit different from Canada, but for us to go to college, 25 to 45K a year
Yeah.
to go to college and to get a theater degree that you may never use and you may never become an actor and to have, $200,000 in debt with no usable degree is not something that I want for her. So
Totally.
my personal perspective is if you're an actor, you're an actor. I never got the theater degree. I just took lots and lots of classes and lots of workshops
Yeah.
and worked. So if you want to be an actor, a theater degree is not required. It'll help you in some cases, but it's not necessary. So that's why it's always interesting for me to hear kind of other parents' perspectives on that. But
Totally.
I'm glad your parents were supportive. And look, your second project, you're one of the stars in a Netflix series, and that's awesome.
It was definitely shocking, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Have that. Well, because I was only supposed to be in one episode
Oh, that's how it started. Okay.
originally. Yeah, Melvin was only meant to be in his first episode, and I guess they just liked the character, and I got along with the cast really well, and they just kept bringing me back. So every episode, I'm like, this is great.
Wow. So did it start as a guest star, or was it a co-star, and then it kind of kept on going from there?
It was just a principal role.
Okay.
I was only meant to be. There were 3 or 4 scenes. One of them we didn't end up filming. It was cut from the script. But yeah, it was just a principal role.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they just kept bringing me back, and here I am.
And did the contract? I mean, you've been in part 2, part 3, now part 4. So did the contract change, or was it still, hey, we'll call you if we need you type of thing?
It was still kind of, we'll call you if we need you.
Okay.
I would get a text from my agent if I was in the next episode, which was always a text I was looking forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah, which that was it. I would just get a text, and I would be super excited.
Yeah, and that's kind of the life of an actor, right? You get so attached to a particular show, and then you don't know, right? I mean, you may or may not be getting anything. You kind of want to move on, but you don't want to move on, and you're in that perpetual state of not knowing what's happening. So that's
Totally.
really part of an actor. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like, it's just such a scary industry where you just never know, right? So it's going back to parents' reactions. I mean, I totally understand your perspective, my parents' perspective. It's a scary thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was scared going into it. I can't imagine as a parent having a child go into it. I'm like it's tough for sure.
And it's also a thing, and again, not kind of downplaying my daughter's desires, but I'm very attuned to knowing if it's the only thing you want to do and you're great at it and that's your life, then I would be fully on board regardless. But with her, it's fun. She's good. She enjoys it. But I don't see that this is my only ambition in life. This is my only pursuit. I see this as more of a something fun to do with friends, and I want to continue doing it. And that a career does not make, because in our industry, in order for a career to work out, there's obviously an element of luck to it and being in the right place at the right time. But you have to work your butt off, and you have to do it for years, and you have to be a professional at it. And if you're not fully invested in it, it's just not going to happen. So I'm also looking kind of to see if she's fully into it, and I don't see that level. That's why I said, okay, yeah, maybe a minor. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I mean, I did a lot of musical theater throughout high school, and it was just, like, it was something fun, and I really enjoyed doing it, but I was always like, oh, nuclear physics. And then it wasn't until I took a year off after high school, and I continued doing it, and it was always in the back of my mind as something. But I mean, I also grew up in a small town in Alberta, so the idea of acting was a pipe dream.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't until I took that year off and then did some acting by myself where I was like, no, this is what I want to do. So let's go give it my all. So maybe it just takes time.
Maybe.
Who knows?
It's true, right? For everybody, it's different. For me, when I was a kid, acting, that's the only thing I wanted to do. Then it became acting and tennis. And those were the two things that I only care about, and everything else. Well, then there was poetry. So it was 3 things: acting, tennis, poetry. Those were my 3 endeavors, and I was spending all of my time on that. So like, until I see that level of craziness, then I'm gonna stay put. I read one thing that made me feel sorry for you, but also made me relate. because I broke my arm in high school. And I remember that experience. You broke both of your arms in high school. So I want to know the story. What happened? I'll tell you mine after you tell me.
Oh, it's so embarrassing. It's actually two separate stories because they're both arms. They happened about a week apart from each other.
Oh my God.
The first arm, so it was my left arm, was my wrist. It was in gym class, and we were playing soccer, and I was in goal, and I went to dive for the ball.
Oh.
And the ball just, I guess, hit my wrist in a weird way and broke it.
Okay.
And so I was like, I remember, oh God, I was made fun of so much because I was like, my wrist really hurts. And it wasn't until the gym teacher was like, I think you broke your wrist. So then I left school and I came back to pick up homework and everything. And I had this bright orange cast on my wrist. And then about a week later in gym class again, we were playing dodgeball. And I was like, you only need one hand. You know, you catch and you throw. That's it, right? So I was like, I'm good. I can play. And I wasn't the most athletic person in high school. And so the fact that I thought I could even catch a ball was astonishing to me. But I one of the jocks whipped a dodgeball at me, and I went to catch it, and I missed, and it hit my thumb and broke it, and it almost tore the ligament and everything. So then I didn't say anything to anyone all day, and I remember being on the bus on my way home, texting my mom. I was like, "Hey, I think I broke my thumb."
Let's pause for a second. How were you texting? Because one of your arms is in a cast. So
it wasn't smooth at all. It wasn't like that. It was much like I had it in my broken hand or my broken wrist, and then I had this claw that I was trying to type with. And so then my mom took me or my dad, one of my parents took me to the Emerge again, and then they were like, yeah, it's broken. So then I had that wrapped as well. So then I was a lobster for a while.
Did it go above the
No, it wasn't like up here. It was just below the elbow on both.
Yeah.
It was I had to write final exams like that.
Yeah.
Which was a little tough. I learned how to write without using my thumb. I don't have a pen close by, or else I would show you how I would hold a pen, because it was quite interesting.
Wow. Well, I imagine something like this.
Kind of like that. I used my pointer finger as my thumb, basically.
Jesus. I mean, yours were cool. Mine was just plain stupid. I came to the United States at the age of 14 from the former Soviet Union. So here I am at a party, freshman year. I don't speak English. I speak a little bit, but for the most part, I don't speak English. And I'm trying to show off. I've always been a fan of martial arts. I did a little bit of martial arts before. So for whatever reason, unbeknownst to me still, I decided that I'm going to prove to everybody how great I can kick. And again, we'll talk about your bow staff in a second as well. So I decide that I'm going to kick the ceiling. I'm going to jump up and kick the ceiling. And the two bad parts of that story is that I did not kick the ceiling. I missed. And then I landed on my wrist going down and broke it, obviously. And then I remember kind of calling my dad and saying, "Dad, don't worry, I'm okay, but I'm pretty sure I broke my wrist." And then go to the emergency room, get the cast. So I am, in a school, people don't know who the hell I am with a broken wrist. But then I decided to get a cool haircut, which my parents hated, so they shaved my head. So I was that kid who, broken wrist, shaved head, didn't speak English. I had lots and lots of fun in freshman year.
Oh yeah, no, I totally feel that. I was saying with my lobster claws.
Yeah, I had my lobster 30 years later, actually even more, because 2 years ago I broke my left wrist, same wrist again. Also being an idiot. We went to Portland or Seattle. I think Portland. My wife and I, and then we were doing what is it called? The thing that you kind of stand on and it drives on its own. Um, it's I forgot what it's called. Anyway, I'll remember in a second. It's a
Oh, like one of those hoverboards?
it's not a hoverboard, but the idea is similar. But you kind of stand.
Oh, Segway, a Segway,
Segway,
right?
thank you.
That's
Yeah.
it. Okay.
So we took a Segway tour. I've done Segways before. I'm really good on it. And then I was just being an idiot because
I'm having trouble hearing you.
I am being an idiot. Thank you, Siri. And then I decided to pass people because they were too slow and I'm too cool and I'm too fast. So I decided to pass them by going off-road, which I've done before. Unfortunately for me, in this particular instance, there was a huge tree with lots of roots that I didn't see. Next thing I know is I am flat on the ground, and then I go like this, like, oh, okay, it's fine. And then it starts blowing up and getting all sorts of sore. We go to the emergency room thinking it's just a bruise. It's broken in 3 places. So,
Oh,
and then I had to go with this thing. It was above the elbow, so I was like this. I was at
oh,
work typing like this.
yeah,
You have that for a number of weeks, then they give you a smaller one like you had. So
yeah.
the one of the only reasons why I'm telling this story, aside from telling you not to be the idiot that I am, is that the foolish things that you do when you're a kid, you may not grow out of them. So
Yeah.
please heed my advice and try to be more careful than I was.
Yeah, I mean, I've had my fair share of broken bones with both my wrists. I think the year before I turned into a lobster, I broke my toe in kickboxing.
Yeah.
When you kick, like your foot's not supposed to be at an angle,
Yep.
like mine was, and the bag swung back. And this is a little gross, so if people don't, skip ahead like 30 seconds. The nail in my big toe went into my toe and broke the growth plate in it, and it just started bleeding. So that's what I was shocked about. And then they brought me to the ER, and I broke my toe. And because it was the growth plate, I was on crutches.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's great, love this. And then the year later, I was a lobster. So.
Did you continue kickboxing? How long did you do it?
I've done kickboxing a few times on and off.
Okay.
I did it when I was really young. I don't even know for how long, and then I joined it again, and then I broke my toe, and then I didn't come back to it until maybe like a year or two ago. I got back into it, but and doing more boxing stuff now.
And how did the bow staff come into play?
Well, the bow staff is, I'm a big comic book fan, and my favorite character is Robin, like Batman and Robin, and he has a bow staff. So I was always like I want to learn how to do that, and I want it to kind of relate or translate into my acting in some sort of way. So I had a friend of mine who was into stunt acting and everything, and I got to contact with them, and I was like, do you know anyone that knows how to like fight with a bow staff? Like a weirdly specific question.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I do actually. So he put me in contact with Michelle C. Smith, who happens to do classes on stunt work with a bow staff. So I was like, well, this is perfect. So then I started working with her, and I did that for a year and a bit, I think, up until the pandemic started.
Yeah.
I was doing that, and it's super fun. I love doing it. I have a super small apartment, so I can't really flail around a 6-foot bow staff at all. So I haven't really touched it since the pandemic started. But once we're allowed back in classes and stuff, I'm gonna try and pick that up again.
Hey, they should have continued. I mean, this is you have a perfect social.
Yeah, you got 6 feet right there.
Yeah. You mentioned broken toe. Apparently, this is what this show is about. My son, my 11-year-old, I just forced him to go into. He did Taekwondo for a couple of years. He didn't love it, and he started getting bullied. And Taekwondo, no offense to Taekwondo, but it's not self-defense. So I got him into a Jeet Kune Do, kind of Jeet Kune Do, Muay Thai, Jiu Jitsu, and Filipino martial arts, including Kali school, which is really good. So he went on Monday, and I took him. He went there. They immediately started, showing him, this is how you actually, put your hands together. Like, they did not do a Taekwondo. They just expect you to break boards without telling you how to hit first. I had that conversation with them for many years. Anyway, so he goes there. After that, he's just so sore. He's so sore because he's hitting with the wrong wrong part of the hand. The arm is like this, or he's hitting like this. So he's just very, very sore. He's like, I'm never doing this again. I'm telling him, absolutely, you're doing it. This is the right school for you. Suck it up, man. The very next morning, I get him out of bed. I wake him up because I wake the kids up. I wake him up, and then I hit both of my toes on his bed. And normally it's like, okay, 30 seconds, it sucks, it's fine. One of my toes is still blue. I thought maybe I broke it. I didn't, but it's a huge bruise. So I'm like, you know what? I'm shutting up. I respect your soreness.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just, back off.
Oh man, there's nothing worse than a stubbed toe. I mean, there's lots of things worse than a stubbed toe, but a stubbed toe, like, for those 30 seconds is terrible.
That's when my colorful language comes up.
Same.
Yeah. Anyway, back to acting, which is what the show should be about.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So you get on this Netflix show, right? So you're supposed to be there for one episode, and it just keeps going, which is awesome. How did the character develop? Because as you keep getting more stuff from the writers, as an actor, you come up with your own kind of backstory. You take whatever you have, you start, filling in the gaps, and then they keep bringing you back. So did things evolve? Did the writers at some point have a conversation with you and saying, okay, we're kind of looking at you, so we're going to make these modifications? How was that process?
It was interesting. I had quite a bit of freedom with Melvin, which was a lot of fun. It was kind of just whenever I would get the script, it was a shock to see kind of what Melvin was doing, and it was really exciting because like I'd always make a meal out of getting one of the scripts, because you can only ever read it once as a fan.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I am a fan of the show and of everyone's work. So I would sit down and I would read the whole script, and whenever I would see Melvin stuff, I'm like, oh, Melvin's doing that, like, oh, that's so exciting. And then, you read the rest, and then you start reading it as an actor, going, okay, so this is kind of what I'm thinking for this, and this is what I'm thinking for that. So for Melvin, it was really just kind of seeing what they had written and thinking to myself, okay, now where could they be going with this?
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, my favorite arc for Melvin would be, because he is such a shy guy who's kind of keeps to himself. I really like the idea, kind of like the Neville Longbottom in Harry Potter is what I think about, where he's that like kind of shy, awkward guy, but more into a leadership role almost, and with a lot more confidence, is kind of what I really liked for Melvin. And I feel like we definitely started to see the beginnings of that.
And you kind of look like Matt Lewis as well. So
I'll take it. He's a good looking guy. So thank you.
You're welcome. And I've seen you working out, and we've seen photos of him shirtless, kind of buff. So it's a proper analogy. We can go with it.
I'll take it.
So did at any point, again, right now, you can based on your look, you can play quite a bit younger. If you don't have your facial hair, you can play younger. So did they at any point kind of look at your photos and say, okay, dude, no facial hair, we really need to go there?
Yeah, it was really on set. It was really no facial hair at all. And actually I had to, on like the 16-hour days that we would film, I had to shave twice. Yeah. Because my facial hair comes in quite dark. So when I'm clean shaven, you can kind of still see like a 5 o'clock shadow almost. And it grows quite fast, I found out. So on those 16-hour days, I would have to shave before I got there. And then at lunch, I would have to shave again because they're like, wow, Melvin's really getting this weird 5 o'clock shadow. So yeah, it was definitely as little facial hair as possible for Melvin.
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, he's a warlock, so technically you can do all sorts of things, right? You know,
So
it could be a trick. You know, he could
yeah,
have aged just for fun. So
yeah, you never know. He could have just been like, I want a goatee today.
yeah.
And just snaps his fingers and it's like a wicked goatee.
So you're the kind of guy that I don't know if you've tried it yet because you may not have had an opportunity to do so, but you know, can you grow your beard really fast?
I only got the opportunity to with this pandemic because every audition I do or anything like that is quite young, so I end up shaving.
Mm-hmm.
But during the pandemic, I really let it grow out, and I got quite a good beard going, which I called my isolation beard. I feel like in every movie, whenever someone isolates, they end up getting this like super scruffy beard and long hair, and
Yep.
I was like, yeah, I kind of want to do that. So yeah, I let it grow out for however long. I think it was heartbreaking when I had to shave it actually.
Yeah.
But no, you got to do what you got to do.
My trick is that I start growing it. I know I don't have, you know, the 4 months for it to really kind of fill it. I have 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So I grow it, I do the thing, and then I go to Face app, and then I take a photo of myself, and then the Face app kind of fills in the rest of the beard. And that's kind of my fault. I'm like, okay, well, fine, yeah, I'm okay with that, and then I shave it off.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Good. Oh, the beard.
Yeah. So what's next? I know part 4 is kind of the last part. You know, maybe they'll continue it. Maybe there's going to be spin-off and all sorts of things that Netflix may come up with. And Netflix is cool. I love Netflix. What's next? I heard that you did a short film. You're writing a couple of short films for yourself. What's going on next for you?
Yeah, I had a short film. I don't know what's going on with the short film actually. I think it's hitting some festivals right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting into writing a lot more. So I've got a few ideas and I've got a few writing partners that we're gonna start really revving up on those scripts pretty soon, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah. And again, this is our industry, right? You have to create your own content. You have to be in
Totally.
control. Well, in whatever modicum of control that we could actually be in our industry. But yeah,
Yeah, totally. And I mean, like, we're so lucky that we live in the day and age that we do, where you can put stuff up on YouTube, or you can start a web series, and maybe something happens with that. I mean, look at like Cobra Kai on Netflix right now. It was a YouTube premium show.
Yep.
And now it's on Netflix, and I think it's like #1 on Netflix right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It's a great show. So that's something to look at, right? Like being able to create your own stuff is quite available to us.
Yeah, I mean, look at this is what I did during the pandemic. I had no acting roles, obviously, and I got sick of taking workshops. And I said, hey, I want to talk to people. I'm going to start the show and see what happens. And 106 episodes later. So
yeah, which is great. Like that's what's so great about the internet right now.
So in terms of Vancouver does a ton of CW stuff. It does a ton of Hallmark stuff. So any opportunities that you're able to talk about, anything that you've had a chance to audition for?
I'm just trying to think. Quite a few Hallmark Christmas movies, for sure. It's weird to have Christmas during like the summer, but in Vancouver, that's what we have. Yep. I'm trying to think of ones that I can actually talk about, because I think most of them I'm not necessarily allowed to.
That's fine.
I mean, like I'm a big fan. Like I said, I'm a big comic book fan, so I love that we have all of those, like the Arrowverse shows out here. I'd love to be on one of those. I think that would be great.
And yeah, I think you can, and I think both Hallmark and CW probably are a good fit for you. So it'll be nice. Vancouver is awesome.
Yeah,
Anytime I talk to Vancouver actors, I hear how great the community is, and everybody is pulling for everybody. It's not a large community. There's a
totally.
lot of work, knock on wood, because Vancouver used to be kind of hot and cold. Now it seems to be, steady. So it's a great place to be.
Yeah, it's booming for sure, and I mean, especially during the pandemic right now, I feel like a lot of productions have come up to Canada
Yeah.
because our COVID cases are a lot lower than the States right now. So that's really exciting. When I was in film school, I would actually go and visit sets
Mhm.
a lot just to watch and try and learn. I think my one of my friends and I we snuck into a parkade, and we were right above um, the Flash. Actually, they were filming,
Awesome.
and it was a great learning experience. We were close enough that we weren't on camera, but that we could kind of hear dialogue between actors and directors, which was quite informative, and I really enjoyed. And then like we got to see stunts happen, and we got to learn all these things, which I felt is really important. And that's something that you don't get in school. You have to get on set, and the only way that we could do that was by visiting these sets and trying to see what we could see without getting in the way. Obviously, we didn't want to interrupt anything or get in trouble or get people in trouble.
Mhm.
So yeah, I found that was super helpful to learn.
Yeah. So back to the school for a second, because that's another reason why I kind of have the bad taste in my mouth about college theater schools. I talk to people from really top notch programs that literally had no classes on what are agents, how do you succeed in the industry, what is a mark, which actually that part I find even more annoying, because if you're theater, there is a mark on stage as well.
Totally.
Right. So, did you have in your schooling, did you have any classes that actually deal with on camera, that deal with the business aspect of it? Was that a part
Yeah,
of the curriculum?
we did. I went to the Vancouver Film School, which has a 1 year program that I did.
Okay.
And in that they had like your acting classes. You had acting, movement, voice,
Yeah.
all of that. But we did have a business class. We had audition classes, and we had on
Yeah.
camera classes as well,
Okay.
which was really good. I also have, I mean, like my mother was in advertising, and my dad was or is a commercial mortgage broker.
Yeah.
So I have like quite like a business mindset. So for me, like I the business class, I was like, hey, I got this. Let's go. Um, yeah, and I found that those are really important. And we did stuff on like kind of seeing where we fit in the industry in terms of like,
Mhm.
what's your age range? What kind of roles are you going to go out for? Because when you're in
Yeah.
a theater school or a film school, you're full of piss and vinegar, and you're ready to hit the world and tackle any role that
Yeah.
comes your way, right? Like, but it's difficult, especially starting off. You gotta kind of hit your type for sure. And
Yeah.
for me, that was like pretty much Melvin, right? That like nerdy guy, which I am. I'm a really shy guy, and I'm a really nerdy guy. So I was like, that's right up my alley. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah. Are you gonna do any different looks as you're doing your short films, as you're creating things? Do you want to step out into a different type and show, another side of you?
I mean, I feel like I always want to, like as an actor, like we're always kind of
Mhm.
looking for anything new. Um, I'm not opposed to doing something like Melvin again. Like I think that's quite fun, and I enjoyed doing that for sure. So
Mhm.
I'd be open to kind of doing the same type of role. The short films, yeah, are a little bit different, and I'm really excited about. Um, maybe I'll have facial hair. I don't know. We'll see.
It's a great opportunity to show the industry something else, because the industry tends to view you in one particular way,
Totally.
and until you show it another way and more than once, then they may not understand it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's all good. Very cool. Well, listen, best of luck to you. You're starting off your career on a great note. Obviously, you're doing something right because you keep on being brought back by a very serious, show on a very serious network.
Yeah.
So, crossing my fingers for you, knocking on wood, and
Thank,
yeah, best of luck. I'll be rooting for you.
thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks to everybody for tuning in into another episode of The Love of Acting. This is 2021, so please, 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 please continue being safe, continue being careful. Social distancing, wear a mask. Let's be smart. Let's get over this and hit 2021 and hopefully 2022 on a really good note. Thank you, everybody.